Hello again. We're now talking about number 6 of the 7 levels outlined in Om Mantra. And this 6th level is also, this may sound odd, but in relation to Turiya, the 4th state, this is also a transition level. It's called Samadhi, which has to do with deep absorption. It's beyond the level of prajna, the plane of unmanifest reality that moves outward. And there are many types of samadhi. If you explore around, at one time I ran an experiment. I put, I don't know, a dozen books in front of me, and I said, I'm going to write down on a piece of paper every different kind of the word samadhi that I can find. And I ended up with something like 65 or more different types of samadhi. And so the samadhi actually is extremely deep, but it's still a transition level that's not quite to the depth of what we know as self-realization, capital S-E-L realization, which is where the consciousness is standing alone without any awareness of any object or formless plane of reality. There are many types of samadhi, and there is gross and there is subtle. Here's a principle that's helpful. There is observing, there is observer, observing, and observe. And here's a way of getting some understanding of what is a samadhi-like experience. When you are an observer and you're doing a process of observing something, sometimes you become so absorbed in it that you forget that you are observing, and you lose yourself as an observer, and you become totally absorbed in that thing. In terms of yoga, this samadhi is used as a tool for reducing the coloring of samskaras. That's a pretty subtle subject there, so maybe you want to explore that separately. And so anyway, there are samadhi with form and samadhi without form. In any case, the mental attention stance is similar. I'll give you one example of a samadhi-like. Now, please don't overstate this. It's a metaphor. It's a symbolic way to get an idea of what samadhi is about. And I hope it's useful. If you've had a busy day and you go home and you walk in the door of your house and you either flip on the television set and start watching a show, or you turn on your favorite music and your music is going in the background, and you sit down in your nice comfortable chair and you sort of lose yourself in the movie, or you lose yourself in listening to the music that's playing. What happens to all of the stuff, the stressors from the day that you were thinking about when you walked in the front door of your house? They fall away. Your problems of the day, your experiences of the day fall away as you become completely absorbed in the television show or in the music that is playing. And those are samadhi-like experiences. Don't take them too literally, but it gives us an idea of what this is about, to talk about deep absorption of our attention. It's very, very subtle and it's very deep. And these aspects of samadhi-like experience are something we're all familiar with. And if we use this wisely in our practices of yoga, when we sit for meditation and we are willing to go deeply into absorption on our habit patterns and samskars, by doing it in that way, they lose their coloring, they lose their potency. Patanjali in Yoga Sutras defines yoga as yogas chitta vritti nirodha. Nirodha basically means setting aside all of those identities. And then he says, Tata drastu svarabhe vasanam, then the drastu, the seer, rests in its true nature. And that spirit of that is called kaivalya, or liberation, which has to do with this fourth state, turiya. And so samadhi, if you study the Yoga Sutras and you practice in accordance with that, samadhi is actually a tool. It is an instrument used to purify the deepest levels of our mind field so that we can reveal the true self, sometimes said the capital S self, that is underneath it all. That's the principle. And okay, let me scroll back up here. You can pause and read this if you want. This is a very deep subject, so I'm not claiming that this brief introduction is totally complete. It's not. It's not supposed to be. It's an introduction to how we can use Om mantra to lead us to the center of consciousness. And so of our 7 levels, Samadhi is number 6, and it's a transition level of deep absorption. So thank you for visiting. Thank you for listening. And once again, I hope that you're enjoying this, and it encourages you to use mantra and introspect and follow inward the levels of consciousness to the still silence within that we can all get glimpses of. Okay? Thank you again. Bye-bye.